I'm Joan Maurice. I'm a cosmetic formulator, aromatherapist, and herbalist. And to understand about what are the best ingredients for hair, let's talk a little bit about the intelligence of hair. The intelligence system of hair is so incredible to me. It's just like, like nature, like how nature just grows, and it has its own unique intelligence system that just operates the hair to grow. So I like to liken, the way hair grows to like a tulip in the garden, growing in garden soil. So as an herbalist, I always look to the plants. I look to nature to explain things to me. So not only is there's the science of the hair, but then I also relate it to the natural world. And indigenous cultures always, they look to the signature of the plant, for that plant to tell it what part of the body it's good for, and to kind of be like a mirror of what it can be used for the body. So if you take the tulips growing in garden soil, so let's just start with that. So these tulips, and this is the garden soil. It's the deep soil right here. This is the topsoil, okay? So you've got the deep garden soil. The deep garden soil is like the dermis of the skin. So think of deep for dermis. And that is the deeper layer that is, way down under. And that's where the bulb is planted for the tulip. That's where the hair bulb is, which we'll get to. But this area is where, trichologists, doctors, they treat. This is, they treat this area for hair loss, for alopecia. And, this is different, through different medications or different, maybe possibly surgeries, procedures. So the cosmetic formulator, the hair formula doesn't, you cannot make claims for this area. It's a drug. It's considered a drug claim if you make any claims for that area. Then up here we have the very topsoil of the garden. And the topsoil, it's the soil that just sits, just like a couple inches on top around the plant. And that's where you want to have your humus and all your nutrients, and keeping that plant, well tended to and nurtured. And if it gets too hot, it keeps it a little moist. If it gets too cold, it keeps it, protects a little bit from the ice cold. So the how I relate the top layer is to the scalp. So the scalp, is what the cosmetic formulator, the hair formulator, does address through hair products. And we'll talk about that in detail in a bit. And then once the hair shaft, which is also called the hair strand, shoots through, shoots through the scalp. So if you think of the tulip shooting through the topsoil, then that is the hair, which we call hair strand. The technical term is hair shaft, and that is non-living. So it's not living anymore. It's actually dead. So there's different ways to care for. So if you think of down here in the garden soil, where the hair root, the bulb, the follicle of the hair, that is the living part. And then that's what's so crucial. This is the area that's affected by medications we take, by stress, by disease, allergies, more systemic. So if you think of the tulip bulb planted in here, if you don't have a good, garden soil to nurture that, and if it's not given enough moisture and the proper nutrients, it's never going to grow into a beautiful tulip. So let's start from, we've got the garden soil, which is the dermis, okay? So then, so here I have this, so you can see the whole anatomy of a tulip as far as, so here is the bulb. So this is like the bulb of hair. This is like the follicle. And then here are the roots, and the roots are like the blood vessels, that are under the follicle, the bulb for the hair. And the roots bring the nutrients up into the tulip, just like the blood vessels, have the nutrients in the circulation for the follicle to keep it nourished and healthy. And that's what's so important, to have thick, genes play a lot of that, as far as if you're going to have really thick hair, or your curly hair, wavy hair, thin hair, straight hair. So part of that is genes too, that's there. But what it is imperative is, how do you nurture, your body with the foods and drinks you consume, and pay attention to that too, and the stress, your stress level, because all that affects. When a plant becomes stressed, you see right away. Then when a plant is stressed, then it gets diseased, it gets, different ailments, and then doesn't do so well. So but what as a cosmetic formulator and hair formulator, what we pay attention to is, say, the topsoil that's on top of the, the bulb, and what's the hair shaft, the hair strand. So if you look at this tulip, it's like, okay, so the hair, when it's, into the deep dermis of the skin, it's the follicle, it's that matters, the bulb, and the follicle is here, and then it comes through the scalp, and then it's non-living, like I said, and that is the hair strand, the hair shaft. So this is what we can take care of. So if you kind of look at this like this, and you're to turn this all the way down, it's kind of reverse. It's like, so it's coming through, and then the hair is growing down, and then the flower is like the tips of the hair. So the tips of the hair, the flower is what dies first, right? So the tips of the hair is what, we have to like tend to with our different serums and different, like controls, edge control, smooth controls for the bottom of the edges. Because just like a flower, you want to be careful, because the flower is so delicate, and it doesn't last that long, and that's why we have our hair trimmed, just the edges and stuff. So why ingredients matter, I'll tell you just a few stories. Like one story is, this is like years ago, I used to teach the natural hair care formulation course in person, and months before that I was developing a clarifying shampoo. So every day I'd wash it was like every day I'd wash my hair. I'd do a different adjustment to the formulation and try it. Oh my gosh, by the time the hair care course started, my hair was literally like straw. It was just like extremely bleached almost, just from the clarifying ingredients I was trying. I was messing with pH, and it just looked like straw. It did not look nourished or anything. So I was just kind of mortified. I walk into the hair care formulation course, and greet everybody. Hi, I'm Joan Race, and welcome to the hair care course. And then here I have this extremely damaged, dry, brittle, hair like straw. So that I know firsthand how ingredients affect the hair, and I'm always trying ingredients all the time on my skin and hair, as a formulator. So number one, as a formulator, that's something you really have to look to, is ingredients. So and then another thing is like our heating tools that we use for the hair, the appliances, that affects the hair too. There's so many things that affect the hair, the non-living. So the non-living hair is like this fine, fiber that we have to be so gentle with and really lovingly care for it. And so when you talk about hair growth, it's kind of interchanged with hair length, and are you talking hair growth, like that is deep in the dermis, that there's issues with the follicle, or are there scalp issues? Because there can be scalp issues, and then there's even issues with that for how the hair does not grow as well. And then there's hair length, and that's where you can have breakage, like I talked to you about from all the trials of shampoo I was trying, and I had bad breakage on my hair. Also, another example of using like a heat appliance. I remember years ago when we went to Portugal, I had just got my hair done before we left, and the hairstylist tucked me into this really expensive hair straightener tool, and I just splurged, and went for it, and I loved it. So I took it to Portugal with me, and they have different outlets to plug into. Well, anyway, it's like I didn't really pay too much attention. I had this one, I don't know, converter. But anyway, I'm patient with a lot of things, but I'm kind of not patient with appliances to heat up. So I turn the heat all the way up, and then I just take the straightener and going like this, and I see like the steam coming off, and I'm going really fast, and I'm on this. I'm like, gosh, it smells like, what is that burnt smell? It smells like burnt hair. Well, because I'm, also slow to learn, I'm going like this and being impatient. All of a sudden I look, my hair, it was actually singed off. Like this much was singed off from the hair appliance. So that's where, if you think about it like as a fiber and how easy hair can be singed and damaged. And so, my hair was up to here, and it was, oh God, it was a disaster. So I mean, the good part is I met this lovely hairstylist in Portugal, and then she did what she could to trim up my hair. So we want to really be careful with, our hair shaft, our hair strand. And that's where, the hair breakage happens. So when you're talking hair length, like for hair length, it's like from, you want to, even in grooming. So most hair types, depending on your hair type, it's best to groom it, when it's drier. When it's wet, it's very, susceptible to breakage, and you have to be careful. And that's where conditioners are so important, is so that you have more smooth comb throughs. But again, it depends on hair type, and you should, pay attention to your hair about which you have the least amount of breakage. And also, like if you're for styling products, to use like a protective hair serum before you put on it. So, these are all kind of like more mechanical for hair breakage, to have hair length. So if we're talking about like the, for the scalp, then, with hair issues and scalp issues, scalp products are a wonderful thing for that, because one thing is with stress, one thing that really does help are massages onto the scalp, because we want to keep circulation. We just want to, have as much circulation as we can, and to relax our scalp. And because stress can play a big role in hair loss. And so, with that, we can have like, scalp serums, hair drops. In the course I have formulations where, and you just drop a few drops and massage it onto your scalp, and it does make a difference, because that really nurtures. Think of the scalp as like the topsoil. You're really nurturing, you're giving that extra boost for that hair strand to thrive and grow into, the thickest hair that you can have, the most nurtured hair, most beautiful, smooth hair you can have. So, talking about ingredients for hair growth, are you wanting ingredients to support hair length, for this area, like to protect the hair shaft, or ingredients for the scalp, to like help to promote like some circulation and get that going, and exfoliation. And I mean, there's traditional herbs that have been used, in cultures since ancient times for hair. And then there's, the ones that have clinical, proven clinical results for hair growth. So, you have to kind of get clear and clarify a little bit about that. Also to understand about how hair grows and the intelligence of hair. Just like we're talking about the tulip, it's like after it grows, the stem into the flower, then, eventually it dies off. And then the root, and the bulb is dormant. It's dormant in the ground. And so it needs certain conditions to be nurtured and to sprout again. It's the same with the cycle of hair growth. Our hair goes through, the follicle goes through a cycle, and there's actually a dormant period. So sometimes we think, oh my gosh, my hair quit growing, but that is because you're in the dormant, cycle, and it doesn't mean that. And then like now my hair's been growing really rapidly, and I've been trimming it a lot, and then all of a sudden it'll just stop. And so it's good to know that there is a cycle for hair. So just like the tulip grows and then it goes dormant, and the bulb is under the ground, you know, in the garden soil, like the bulb of the hairs and the dermis. We have to continue to keep that nurtured. So if the bulb of the tulip is not correctly nurtured and in the and the garden soil is not tended to, it can rot, it can die. The tulip will, and the stem, the leaves, the flower, it will never grow again. And that's exactly what happens to hair. So that's why, you know, as the hair, you know, as a cosmetic formulator, hair formulator, you know, to do nurturing as much as we can to the non-living part, the hair, and then the scalp, to kind of like try to get that, you know, any nutrients to penetrate in, really does assist. And that's the parts that we can address, and we can make a difference with the hair care products. These are my pick of some of the 5 best ingredients for hair growth, for hair length. And it's hard to choose because I've worked with so many ingredients over all these years as a hair formulator, a cosmetic formulator. And, you know, there's the clinically proven cosmetic ingredients with scientific testing and clinical proven data. And then there's the traditional herbs, traditional plants, ingredients that have been used since ancient times for, you know, for hair growth, for hair loss, for scalp ailments. And I'm going to cover the traditional, the ancient herbs. I am an herbalist, and I just have a real affinity, and I work a lot like with plants and herbs, and always turn to the plants for inspiration, for the hair, for hair growth, hair loss. And, you know, so the reason plants, you know, like herbs, there's not a lot of scientific studies done is because, you know, they can't, there's not money to be made because they can't be patented. So therefore, people don't, you know, put money into studying them. But, you know, you can look to the plant, you can look to the ancient cultures that have used them, you know, as sacred and for that specific property for hair growth, like, you know, the Romans, the Greeks, Egyptians, and how it's been passed down all these years. And so every culture has their plant, their herb that is used, you know, for hair growth, and to always look to that culture to see what they've used. If you have, you know, relatives, you know, grandmothers, ask them what they use. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one is black seed oil. It's Nigella sativa, and it's a dark color oil. And as you can, well, you can't smell it, but it has like, it does kind of have you know, a stronger odor that you have to work with. But the thing about Nigella sativa, black seed oil, it is one of the top that has studies, you know, on it. And it is it's a widely used medicinal plant all over the world. It's so popular in Ayurveda. It's a top oil that is used in, you know, the science of Ayurveda, the study of Ayurveda, and the seeds are used for different ailments. So some of the therapeutic properties, it's due to just the presence of this one, you know, this one compound in it, which it has therapeutic properties. And so that really helps it to be antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. And so therefore it's you know, it's really, really good, like, you know, for the scalp. And so, you know, so this is one that I put into my, you know, scalp drops, hair growth drops, because of, you know, because of the information that is available since ancient times on it. And it is, you know, like the flower grows, it's an annual plant, and the leaves divide, and it's just like this narrowly, like little thin leaf segments, but the flowers are so delicate and with these, you know, little petals, and it reminds me of the hair. And so so it is known for, you know, to promote hair growth, and to prevent hair loss. And so this is a really good one for any kind of scalp products. So, okay, so the next one is, I don't know if you've ever heard of false daisy, which is bringridge. And then again, this is another Ayurveda medicinal, treatment and plant that has been known, for ancient times. And it is from the sunflower family. And like it's popular in India, but traditional medicinal systems, they've used this for a long time, and to have diverse medicinal qualities. So one of them is like it's been used a lot to treat the loss of hair and also graying hair, to prevent graying hair. So if you look at it's a beautiful color. I like the scent. It's like a sweet scent. So I like to use this in my scalp drops, hair growth drops. But this is a beautiful, because it also has anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial properties, and all these really do assist with, with treatments for the scalp. So then we have Rosemary Essential Oil. And so I'm showing the essential oil here because I really like using the essential oil in hair care products and formulating with it. And there's different chemotypes of essential oil for rosemary. So I like to use rosemary verbenone. It is the most gentlest for the skin. So sometimes, like rosemary, the other chemotypes, they can sensitize the skin. So if you're putting it in a hair product, and it can be a little sensitizing on the scalp. So rosemary, if you look at the plant, it's like each little thin leaf looks like a hair, like for the doctrine of signatures, which traditional herbalists use, and the signature of the plant, it looks like little strands of hair. And so, it's been used for a long, long time. There's actually was not too long ago, a double-blind study with using rosemary essential oil on some, to see if there was a difference with the hair with one group and one group not. And there was some difference with the hair group that did have the rosemary essential oil. And then it has like these delicate little flowers, and I showed in the last video, the flowers to me remind me like of the ends of the hair. So it's like these are the hair strands, the hair shaft, and then this is like the ends of the hair. So it's a superb, to put into formulations, either in the whole plant form or the essential oil. And then next is horsetail. It's also known as field horsetail, and if you've ever seen it grow, try to look to see, like next time you walk near a creek or a moist area. Where we used to live, I used to walk by a creek daily, and every spring, it was so beautiful. They sprout up as, it almost looks like asparagus, and then like a little fern, and it looks like this, it covers just blankets like the forest floor by the creek beds, moist areas. Almost looks like a little, a tiny little forest, like little forest trees, almost like little, not like pine trees, but I guess like little fern trees. And then they start growing up, and like I said, it almost, the stalk of it looks like asparagus, but when you look closer, it starts to, you see these rings around it, and it looks exactly how a strand of hair looks under the microscope, with all like the the different layers of the hair that look like roof shingles. So again, looking at the plant, it looks just like the strand of hair. So ancient, cultures have used horsetail for a long time, and one thing horsetail, it's known for is strengthen. It has silicon in it, and what that does is it provides strength. So horsetail is definitely one that I put into length, to give strength, or any kind of hair products that you want to build strength. And we need strength for, hair length. So whether you call it hair growth or hair length, we need that. We need our hair strands to have a lot of strength so that it can hold up to the, the grooming with our brushing, our combing, and then even the different styling products. So Horsetail is one that is really great for that. And then the last one is shiitake, and it's also been used since ancient times, and especially in Ayurveda. And it's used as a, as a shampoo to wash the hair. It has saponins in it. The bark has saponins in it. So the saponins, not only do they help to cleanse, but they also, what they do is saponins help to deliver other ingredients into the skin. So that's why I think it's exceptional to have, an ingredient with your formula that the herbs have saponins in it, because then they help to deliver the other ingredients. And so then they all work together like in this nice synergy that put together. And that's why I like, mixing several different plants that all work together and they're better as a whole. So it has, been known for to help to promote hair growth, and it is very, very widely used since ancient times. And it is an exceptional plant. It's a shrub that grows in India, in Asia. So it's a sustainable plant. And so that's another thing I look at, are these sustainable, plants that we're not over harvesting. So those are my pick for now of all the ingredients I've worked with. It's really hard to choose. So in the Pro Natural Hair Formulation course, there's like hair growth drops, there's scalp serums. And so this one is, one that I really like, my formulation. And as you can see, it is a little bit pink because I also infuse hibiscus in it. And hibiscus has also been used like in Jamaica, in the Polynesian culture, like Hawaii, and I'm, from Hawaiian born. So as you can see, look how it's not greasy. It just goes in. And so this even works for myself as far as for scalp drops. So part of it is also, it depends on, the person and if they can tolerate. And so that's a huge part of, formulating hair care products is you really have to try it to make sure it's not too heavy to the scalp, because you also don't want these really, really heavy oils on the scalp to sit there too long. But with to do just, create your own hair formulation for some hair growth drops or hair length drops, you just drop right onto the scalp, and then just you don't need a whole lot. You just drop a few drops and then just gently massage it in there. And if it's a little too heavy for real fine hair or something, you can always do it before a shower, and just really nicely massage your scalp and spend time massaging the scalp, and that will help tremendously with prevention of hair loss, is the circulation. And also, like rosemary, I didn't say that earlier, but that's what it's known for. It promotes circulation, and so we really need that on the scalp. So so my ideal formulation for like hair growth formulations are something with a saponin in it, something with, that promotes circulation, something that builds strength on the hair shaft, the hair strand, and what else? Just, traditional plants that even look like the hair and have been known to be used for hair loss, hair growth since ancient times. So that's my for my best ingredients that I was hard to choose, but that's what my 5 best ingredients for hair growth.